Okay, so this is probably gonna be the hardest video I'm ever gonna have to make, so oh my gosh. Okay, so this is probably gonna be the hardest video I'm ever gonna have to make, but I know I have to make it because he was important to our family. And I know he was important to so many of y'all. So today is November 5th. It's early in the morning. I knew I just had to jump on and do this very quickly. I personally would prefer to grieve off camera. So I'm just gonna kind of tell y'all what happened, and then I'm going to take time to grieve. I have 2 videos that are already filmed and edited for y'all to see. So while those go up on my channel, I will be taking personal time to step away from everything. So I'm sorry. So what happened, if you don't follow me on Instagram, is on November 2nd, Bubba was barking all morning, and so it was probably starting around 3 a.m. and Bubba barks sometimes in the morning. That's normal. He's like, hey everybody, we're getting up. Like, if I'm up, we're getting up. But usually that will start, I would say, 6 a.m. So he was barking all morning at 3 and kept going and kept going, and we'd get up, we'd take him out and then try to go back to sleep, and it kept going. So my husband, I think, officially got up with him around 6 in the morning, and everything seemed normal. It seemed okay, but he still seemed to kind of be barking, and my husband was like petting him but also trying to go to sleep on the couch. So around 7 I officially just got up for the rest of the morning, and I stayed with Bubba, and I let my husband go back to the room so he could sleep. And something immediately seemed off to me. He was kind of panting, and I don't know why well, I do now, but at the time I didn't know why he was panting. And so I just kind of watched him, and I actually had plans for that day, the next day, and I immediately just kind of canceled them because I wasn't sure what was happening. So he was kind of panting, so I was like, maybe he just wants some fresh air. So I took him for a walk. He only made it to the neighbor's house and then just sat down, and he's not a walker, to be fair, but he can walk more than that. He usually walks and stands there and barks at nothing and then stops and then walks a little bit, and yeah. So I took him and I carried him back inside, and I just kind of noticed his tongue appeared to be like a more purplish bluish color, and that immediately sent me off. So I called his vet. He had a grooming appointment on Wednesday. I think that's today. Yesterday. So he had a grooming appointment on Wednesday. So I called his vet and I asked him if he could actually be moved up and see a vet on that day, on Monday. And so then they did. They said bring him in at 1. So when we brought him in, the vet immediately took a bunch of questions and then wanted to look at him before he ever did any grooming. So they ended up doing chest x-rays and they did blood work. And the chest x-rays showed that the lungs usually on an x-ray are black, and they were coming out very white and cloudy. And I guess usually that means like an appearance of like fluids. That's what the ER later told us. So the vet actually did clear him. He stayed calm enough. They cleared him to do his grooming. And then after his grooming, they said everything was okay, but they wanted us to take him home because there was nobody going to be on the vet staff overnight. And so they wanted us to take him home in case he had to go to the emergency room that night. So we didn't even make it home by the time that we got to the vet. one of the vet assistants picked up Bubba and brought him to our car, and immediately he just couldn't breathe, and he was going blue and purple, and he seemed dizzy and out of it. So we immediately rushed over to the ER. From the ER, they put him on oxygen immediately. They had him in an oxygen room. And at first it was set really high with a lot of oxygen to kind of help him out. They looked at his x-rays, and that's when they realized the fluid buildup, so they put him on Lasix, which is like a liquid that's supposed to help get fluid out. It's kind of like a diuretic. So they put him on Lasix. They also gave him a little bit more of like some kind of like sedative to calm him down, so that way he wouldn't be panicking and breathing as hard. And so he probably checked in there around like 3. So after that, he was in there for 2 days total. So he stayed there that night, and there wasn't a big significant change to that night when we saw him and whatever. But to the next morning, they called us the next morning. Now you have to remember, well, you don't remember, but you have to know, like, we would stay there for probably 3 hours and then leave the vets and stuff so that they could care for Bubba, and they'd probably come back for like 3 hours. This was kind of like a normal thing. So we were there when he was dropped off for about 3 hours. We were there again at night, and yeah, so the next day the vet calls me probably around like 6:30 and just said that Bubba is doing really well, like much better. His numbers had dropped significantly, but he still could not breathe on just room air alone, but they had the oxygen much lower, and the oxygen much lower and the O2 machine for him. So we thought that was fantastic. We got ready, we went to see him, and he's just out of it because of the medication. But that morning he was actually a little bit more himself. He was like, they put food in there, and he's a prima donna. He was like, I'm not eating this. And he was trying to knock it off, not get out of there. And so we stayed with him for quite a bit until he went to sleep, and then when he went to sleep we left. And then when we came back that evening, we stayed for a really long time. I think it was like, I don't know, like 6-7 hours from that evening. The vets asked me to bring any kind of food that he might eat because he wasn't eating. So I brought his food, and I boiled some chicken for him, which he did end up eating the boiled chicken. And so they had him almost to room air in the O2 machine, and so they wanted us to give him a try, and they said when previously they tried to take him out, he could last for a little bit and then he'd start going purple and blue. And so then we tried, and you have to understand there's a million things going on in this place. It was definitely busy. So we tried to take him out, and he lasted for quite a bit, and then he just couldn't do it, and he was going purplish again. And so put him back into the O2 tank, and then he was resting, and another dog ended up going into like a complete seizure that was lasting over 5 minutes. It was terrifying, especially because like you're witnessing that, and then your dog is there, and you just, I don't know, it's just a lot. So anyways, when Bubba was sleeping, when this was happening, it was going on and on and on. And so then that's when we kind of were like, we need to leave and get out of their space so they can do what they need to do. And that was probably like 1 in the morning or something on that day. And then so yesterday they give me a call, probably get around 6 or 7, and they just say like, they try to give him off oxygen again. It lasts for a couple hours, then he starts panting and going purple and blue, and that there wasn't much that could probably happen because he was going through congestive heart failure. But if that was just the sole reason, he might have been okay. But he had heartworms when we adopted him, and so it was probably a combination of congestive heart failure combined with the heartworms combined with COPD. And they just didn't think that 12 more hours in the O2 tank was going to make much of a difference. Oh gosh. And so that was kind of when I had the quality of life conversation with us. So so that was the end. We went to see Bubba and all of that, and I'll just keep that part to myself. But he fought so hard, he really did. And he was so good before all of this, and it just took a really ugly turn. But I just need time to be off camera, but I also don't want it to look weird when new videos come. I mean, you're gonna notice from the color of the hair that it's previously recorded, but I just need to take this time now because my husband and I are we're both really struggling right now, and so I just wanted to come on here and let y'all know what was happening. And now I would ask that you kindly respect me and my time to grieve this in peace, alone, off camera. And I hope you enjoy my other videos, and I hope after that I'm ready to come back. And I know most of you are amazing and understanding, and so I think y'all will get it. I mean, we don't have children, so Bubba was our child. So I think most of you are really gonna get it. This is so hard for me to come on camera and tell you all of this, but I just know that y'all love Bubba so much too. And it's gonna be very confusing if I didn't do this. So as much as I don't want to do this, and as much as it's just like, this is a part about having your life on social media that I really don't like. I knew it was something I was gonna have to do, and it wasn't gonna be easier later or sooner. So that's just what's going on. So once again, I just kindly ask that you allow me to step back and just grieve. And yeah, I'll have some new content for y'all in the meantime. And yeah, I don't know exactly what else to say. All right, bye guys.